The book feels heavy in my hands, heavier than I imagined. The cover is a deep, glossy blue, the title embossed in stark white letters that seem to hum under my fingertips. The Silent Partner. My name is printed just below it. My name, not his. Not the name I took when I promised to be a partner, silent or otherwise. My maiden name. A ghost I thought I'd laid to rest years ago. The publisher's office is quiet, smelling of old paper and new beginnings. My editor, Sarah, is watching me, a gentle, knowing smile on her face. She thinks this is a moment of pure triumph. And it is. But it's also the pull of a trigger, the lighting of a fuse. My thumb finds the edge of the pages, and I let them flutter open. I don't need to search for the page. I know where it is. I wrote it. I bled it. For Mark. The two words sit alone, centered on the page. Simple. Deceptive. My breath catches. He'll see that. He'll preen. He'll tell his friends, his colleagues, that his little wife finally dedicated her silly little book to him. The supportive husband. The muse. Then his eyes will drift downward, to the smaller, sharper text I placed just beneath. And for Jessica. For showing me that the best fiction is always rooted in the truth. My heart is a frantic drum against my ribs. This is it. The point of no return. The words on this page are a declaration of war, and I've just armed the entire world. In a week, this book, this dedication will be in 1,000 hands. 1,000,000. And he will have nowhere to hide. Sarah sees the look on my face, misinterprets it as overwhelming joy. She pats my shoulder. You did it, she says, her voice warm. You really did it. I look up from the page, the ink still seeming to dry, and I give her a smile that doesn't quite reach my eyes. Oh, I did it. But the part she's celebrating is only the beginning. If you've ever held a dream in your hands, something you fought for when no one else believed, tell me about it in the comments. I read them all. And please subscribe, it helps me bring more of these stories to life. 5 years ago, my world is the scent of lemon polish and Mark's expensive cologne. It's the gentle hum of the dishwasher and the precise, geometric lines the vacuum leaves on the plush beige carpet. Our house is a monument to his success. A sprawling suburban palace with more rooms than we have conversations. My life is curated, quiet. I am the curator. I manage the schedules, the cleaners, the landscapers. I plan the dinner parties where Mark holds court, charming clients and colleagues with anecdotes I've heard 100 times. I am the perfect accessory to his perfect life. The silent partner. He's not a cruel man. Not in the way people think of cruelty. He doesn't raise his voice or his hand. His cruelty is quieter, a slow, steady erosion. It's in the way he calls my writing my little hobby. It's in the indulgent smile he gives me when I say I spent the day working on my manuscript, the same smile one would give a child showing off a macaroni necklace. That's nice, honey, he says, loosening his tie, his mind already on quarterly reports and stock options. Did the dry cleaning get picked up? My writing is the one corner of this polished world that is truly mine. I do it in the pre-dawn hours, when the house is still and sleeping. I sit at a small desk in the guest room, the one overlooking the perfectly manicured garden, and I disappear. I build worlds out of words, characters out of whispers of my own frustrations and desires. My protagonist is a woman named Eleanor. She's quiet, underestimated. She lives in a world that tries to keep her small. She is my heart, poured onto a page. Tonight, Mark comes home later than usual. I've kept his dinner warm. He sinks into his leather armchair, the scent of the city still clinging to his suit. I bring him a plate, and he eats without really looking at it. Had a good day? I ask, my voice small in the cavernous living room. Brutal, he sighs, chewing. Henderson is trying to poach the Miller account. Had to spend all afternoon putting out fires. Real-world stuff. He gestures with his fork towards my laptop, which I left on the coffee table. How about you? Did you kill off any dragons today? The condescension is a familiar little sting. I try to ignore it. I think I finished a chapter, I say, a flicker of pride in my chest.
A really important one.
The part where Eleanor finally. He cuts me off, not unkindly, but with the finality of a closing door. Babe, that's great. Really. But I'm not in the headspace for make-believe right now. My brain is fried. He takes another bite of pot roast. This is good, by the way. The compliment is meant to soften the dismissal, but it only sharpens it. My world, my work, is make-believe, his is the real world. I retreat into myself, nodding, clearing his plate when he's done. Later, after he's fallen asleep, the sound of his steady breathing filling the master suite, I slip out of bed. I creep back to the guest room and open my laptop. The screen glows in the dark, a portal out of this quiet, suffocating life. I read the chapter one wrote. Eleanor stands up to her overbearing boss. She finds her voice. It's a good chapter. It feels real to me. I type for hours, the clicking of the keys a tiny rebellion in the silent house. The sun is just beginning to tint the horizon when I finally crawl back into bed, exhausted but alive. Mark doesn't stir. He's sleeping the sound, untroubled sleep of a man who believes he is the center of the universe. The inciting incident, the moment the ground shifts beneath my feet, isn't a grand explosion. It's a quiet Tuesday. Mark is working from home, a rare occurrence. His presence fills the house, a low-grade hum of pressure. He takes conference calls in his office, his voice booming and confident, while I tiptoe around, making sure not to disturb the important work of the real world. I'm in the middle of a difficult scene, a moment where Eleanor has to make a choice that will change her life. The words aren't coming. I'm stuck, staring at the blinking cursor, a tiny, mocking heartbeat. I decide to take a break, make some coffee. I walk past his office, and the door is slightly ajar. I hear him laughing with someone on the phone. Yeah, she's in the other room, tapping away at her little novel, he says. My blood runs cold. I stop, pressing myself against the wall, hiding in the shadows of my own hallway. I know. It's cute.
Keeps her busy, a pause.
A real writer? Come on, Bill. Let's be serious. She's a great wife. She runs a great house, but she doesn't have the killer instinct. You need a thick skin in the real world. She's soft. The word hangs in the air.
Soft.
He says it like a diagnosis. A terminal condition. I feel my entire body go rigid. It's one thing to be dismissed to my face with a patronizing smile. It's another to be mocked behind my back, my dream reduced to a punchline for one of his work buddies. He continues, oblivious. Honestly, I think it's just a phase. She'll get bored of it eventually and move on to pottery or something. Anyway, about those Q3 projections. I don't wait to hear the rest. I retreat to the kitchen, my hands shaking as I scoop coffee grounds into the filter.
Soft.
A phase.
Pottery.
The words ricochet inside my skull. He doesn't just think my writing is a hobby. He thinks I'm incapable. He has passed judgment on my very character, found me lacking the necessary grit for success. He has placed a ceiling on my potential, a ceiling made of glass, so clear I didn't even know I was trapped beneath it. Until now. That evening, I try to talk to him about it. I wait until after dinner, until he's relaxed in his armchair with a glass of scotch. I approach carefully, my heart thumping. Mark, I begin, my voice trembling slightly. I've been thinking a lot about my writing and I want to take it more seriously. He looks up from his iPad, a flicker of annoyance in his eyes. We're talking about this again? I thought you were happy with your little setup. It's not a little setup, I say, my voice gaining a sliver of strength. It's important to me. I want to try and get it published. He sets his scotch down with a heavy thud. He looks at me, really looks at me, and for a moment I think he sees the desperation in my eyes. But then his face settles into a look of pity. Honey, he says, his voice dripping with condescension. Let me give you some advice, from someone who has to fight and win in the real world every single day. The publishing world is brutal. They eat people like you for breakfast. It's nothing but rejection and heartbreak. I know it's hard, but I want to try. He sighs, a deep, performative sound of a man burdened by his wife's foolish dreams. He stands up and walks over to me, placing his hands on my shoulders. It's meant to be a comforting gesture, but it feels like a cage. Listen to me. You have a wonderful life here. You don't need the stress, the disappointment. Why would you want to put yourself through that? He smiles, but it's all teeth. You'll never be a real writer, sweetheart. It's just not who you are. And that's okay. You don't have to be. You have me to take care of things. He kisses my forehead, a final, dismissive punctuation mark. He thinks he's being kind, protecting me from a world he doesn't think I can handle. But what he's just said isn't protection. It's a sentence. He has looked at the deepest, most vulnerable part of me and declared it worthless. He walks back to his chair, picks up his iPad, and the conversation is over. I stand there in the middle of the living room, frozen. The silence in the house is deafening. But in my head, a storm is brewing. You'll never be a real writer. The words don't just sting. They ignite something. A cold, hard flame of defiance deep in my belly. He thinks I'm soft. He thinks I'll give up and take up pottery. A slow, dangerous smile spreads across my face. A smile he doesn't see. He's just made the biggest mistake of his life. He's given my protagonist a villain. And he's given me a reason to write him into the ground. The rejection letters start arriving like clockwork. Thin envelopes with unfamiliar letterheads, all carrying the same sterile, polite message. Thank you for your submission. Unfortunately, it's not the right fit for our list at this time. We wish you the best of luck in placing your work elsewhere. At first, each one is a punch to the gut. Mark's voice echoes in my head with every form letter. They eat people like you for breakfast. I start a small, sad pile of them in my desk drawer, a monument to my failure. I'm more secretive than ever. I write with a new ferocity, fueled by his dismissal. I get up earlier, stay up later. The house becomes my fortress and my prison. I learn the patterns of Mark's days, the rhythm of his moods. I know when it's safe to be lost in my world, and when I need to emerge, smiling, to ask about his day and pretend my own was filled with nothing more than errands and idle thoughts. The deception is exhausting. It's a full-time job on top of the writing. One night, he comes into the guest room while I'm deep in a chapter. He doesn't knock. The door just swings open, flooding the dark room with light from the hallway. I jump, slamming my laptop shut as if he'd caught me with a lover. It's 2 a.m, he says, his voice thick with sleep and irritation. What are you still doing up? I couldn't sleep. I lie, my heart hammering.
He squints at the laptop.
Still plugging away at that thing, huh? He walks over, and for a terrifying second, I think he's going to try and open it. Instead, he leans against the desk, crossing his arms. The smell of expensive scotch is on his breath. You know, I was talking to Henderson today. His wife, Carol, she just started a book club. They read all the bestsellers. They drink wine, they chat. It sounds fun. You should do something like that. The suggestion hangs in the air, weighted with everything he isn't saying. Do something normal. Do something sociable. Read books, don't write them. I'm not really a book club person, I say, my voice tight. You should try it, he presses. It would be good for you to get out of the house. Get out of your head. He gestures vaguely around the room. This isn't healthy, hiding in here all night, clicking away. It's obsessive. I feel a surge of anger, hot and sharp. It's not obsessive, Mark. It's work. It's what you have to do to get good at something. He laughs. A short, bitter sound. Honey, it's work when you get paid for it. Right now, it's a hobby that's costing you sleep and costing me a wife who's present. He pushes himself off the desk. Just think about it. Carol's a nice person. You'd like her. He leaves, pulling the door closed behind him, plunging me back into darkness. I sit there for a long time, his words ringing in my ears. It's work when you get paid for it. The cruelty of that statement, the way it invalidates every hour, every ounce of passion I've poured into this, it makes me physically sick. He's not just unsupportive. He's actively trying to poison my well, to make me doubt the very legitimacy of my own dream. The pile of rejections grows. 20 letters. 30. 40. I stop counting. I start researching agents online, tailoring my query letters, refining my synopsis. I learn the language of the industry, the etiquette of submission. I am methodical, relentless. I treat it like a job, the job he says I don't have. And with every rejection, I revise. I read my manuscript with colder eyes. I see the flaws, the weak sentences, the meandering plot points. I cut and I polish. Eleanor becomes stronger, sharper. Her world becomes more dangerous, her enemies more cunning. My writing gets better. The pain is a whetstone, and it is sharpening my craft to a razor's edge. I feel myself changing. The soft, accommodating woman Mark married is being calcified, layer by layer, into something harder, something more resilient. I smile at his dinner parties, I nod when he talks about his big deals, but inside, I am 1,000 miles away, plotting Eleanor's revenge and my own. The house no longer feels like a comfortable cage. It feels like a staging ground, a place to gather my strength before the battle. I am no longer just writing a story. I am forging a weapon, and I am learning, slowly and painfully, how to wield it. One day, an email arrives. It's not a form rejection. It's from an agent, a woman named Sarah Jenkins. She says she read my first 10 pages and was intrigued. She requests the full manuscript. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely click the reply button. I attach the file, my entire world contained in a single document, and I hit send. The waiting that follows is a new kind of torture. It's not the dull ache of rejection, but the sharp, agonizing suspense of hope. For 3 weeks, I check my email 100 times a day. I barely sleep. I feel like I'm holding my breath, waiting for a verdict that will decide my entire future. Mark is oblivious. He's busier than ever at work, consumed by a new project. He's often late, distracted. I am a ghost in our home, and he doesn't even notice I'm haunting it. The challenges escalate on 2 fronts, creating a perfect storm of pressure that threatens to tear me apart. First, the book. Sarah, the agent, finally calls. Her voice is a brisk, no-nonsense staccato that I find both terrifying and thrilling. "I've read it," she says, without preamble. The bones are good. The voice is fantastic. But the second half falls apart. Your protagonist loses her nerve. My heart sinks. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Sarah says, her tone sharpening, "she has this incredible build-up, this righteous anger, and then she hesitates. She looks for a compromise. The villain walks all over her in the end. It's unsatisfying. Readers want to see her win. They need to see her win. Are you willing to do the work to get her there?" The question is a gauntlet thrown down. She's not just asking about Eleanor.
She's asking about me.
Am I willing to go to the dark places, to find the ruthlessness the story demands? "Yes," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "I am." "Good," she says. "I'm sending you my notes. I want a full rewrite of the back half. Don't be timid. Burn it all down and build it back up stronger." The notes are brutal. 16 pages of single-spaced, merciless critique. She's right about every single point. My timidity, my ingrained habit of seeking compromise and avoiding confrontation, had bled into my protagonist. I had made Eleanor soft, just as Mark had accused me of being. The rewrite will require more than just changing a few scenes. It will require me to fundamentally change my own perspective. It demands a killer instinct I'm not sure I possess. At the same time, Mark's world is expanding and mine is shrinking. He's promoted to senior vice president. The news is delivered over a sterile, celebratory dinner at a restaurant so fancy the menu doesn't have prices. "This is big, honey," he says, his eyes gleaming with ambition. "It means more responsibility, more travel. But the payoff will be huge." It also means a new executive assistant. Her name is Jessica. He insists I come to a company cocktail party to meet the new team. The event is held in a glass and steel atrium downtown. Everyone is sharp, polished, and hungry. And then I see her. Jessica is in her mid-20s, with a sleek blonde bob and a dress that is both professional and predatory. She orbits Mark, laughing too loudly at his jokes, touching his arm when she speaks. There is a current of energy between them that is unmistakable and nauseating. Mark introduces us, a wide, proud smile on his face. Honey, this is the miracle worker I've been telling you about. Jessica, my wife. Jessica's smile is razor-thin. It's so wonderful to finally meet you, she says, her eyes flicking over my simple black dress with a flicker of something I can only describe as pity. Mark talks about you all the time. Does he? I say, my own smile feeling brittle. Throughout the night, I watch them. It's in the small things. The way he leans in to hear her over the noise of the crowd. The way her hand lingers on his back as they move through the room. The shared, private glances that cut me out completely. I feel a cold dread coiling in my stomach. This is more than just a new assistant. This is a threat. The rewrite becomes my obsession, my escape. I pour all the burgeoning anxiety, the suspicion, the humiliation of that cocktail party into the pages. Eleanor's world, which once mirrored my own quiet frustration, now becomes a landscape of overt betrayal. Her husband in the novel, a charismatic, powerful man, begins an affair with his ambitious young protégé. The fiction is becoming a documentary. Mark's late nights become more frequent. Working on the new merger, he'll say, texting furiously as he walks in the door. He's distant, his thoughts a million miles away. The house grows colder, the silence between us thick with unspoken accusations. One night, I'm working on a scene where Eleanor confronts her husband's lover. The dialogue is vicious, raw. I'm so immersed I don't hear Mark come in. He appears in the doorway of the guest room, his face a thundercloud. I just got a notification from the credit card company, he says, his voice dangerously low. A $300 charge for some kind of writers' conference. Care to explain that? I freeze. I'd signed up for an online workshop, desperate for guidance on the rewrite. I'd used our joint card, forgetting he'd see it. It's a professional expense, I say, trying to keep my voice even. He scoffs, stepping into the room. A professional expense? For what profession? You don't have a profession. You have a hobby. A very expensive, time-consuming hobby that is turning my wife into a goddamn ghost. He gestures angrily at the laptop. I come home, and you're in here. I wake up, you're in here. We're supposed to be a team, a partnership. But you're checked out, living in some fantasy world while I'm out there in the real world, killing myself to pay for all of this. He sweeps his arm, indicating the house, the life he's built, the life he owns. This is important to me, I shout, the words tearing out of me, raw and ragged. More important than me? More important than our marriage, he yells back. The question is a trap and we both know it. The fight ends, as they always do, with my tearful retreat and his stony silence. He sleeps in the guest room that night. Or rather, he sleeps in the other guest room. The one without my desk. The one without my dream. I lie awake in our massive, empty bed, the chasm between us now a physical reality. The walls of my life are closing in. The rewrite is half finished, my marriage is crumbling, and the suspicion about Jessica is a cancer growing in my gut. I feel like I'm drowning, and the only lifeline I have is a story that feels more and more impossible to finish. The proof I've been dreading arrives not in a single, dramatic moment, but in a series of small, mundane betrayals that build to an undeniable conclusion. It starts with the laundry. I'm sorting Mark's clothes, and I find a receipt from a hotel bar in his suit pocket. A hotel just across town. The charge is for 2 glasses of champagne, dated last Tuesday, a night he was supposedly stuck in a meeting until midnight. A cold knot tightens in my stomach. It could be nothing. A business meeting. But champagne. A few days later, I'm cleaning his car, a task I do every few weeks because Mark claims he's too busy. Tucked between the passenger seat and the center console, I find a single, long blonde hair. It's not mine. Mine is dark brown. I hold it up to the light, and it shimmers, a perfect, damning piece of evidence. Jessica's sleek, blonde bob flashes in my mind. I feel a wave of nausea, so intense I have to sit down on the garage floor, the smell of gasoline and leather overwhelming me. The final piece of the puzzle is his phone. He's always been careless with it, leaving it on the kitchen counter or the nightstand. But lately, he's become pathologically attached to it. It never leaves his side. If he leaves a room, it goes with him. One evening, he's in the shower. A text message notification lights up the screen of his phone, which he's left on the dresser. I know I shouldn't. I know it's a line I can't uncross. But I can't stop myself. My hand moves as if it has a will of its own. The screen is locked, but the preview of the message is visible. It's from a contact named Jay. Last night was incredible.
Can't stop thinking about you.
Same time next week? XO.
Jessica.
XO. My vision tunnels. The room seems to tilt, the air sucked out of my lungs. I stumble back and sit on the edge of the bed, my body trembling. The sound of the shower running in the bathroom is a roar in my ears. He's in there, washing her off of him before he comes to bed with me. The sheer, calculated duplicity of it is breathtaking. I feel 1,000 emotions at once. A grief so profound it feels like a physical wound. A white-hot rage that threatens to consume me. Humiliation, shame, despair. I want to scream. I want to smash things. I want to march into that bathroom and confront him, to see the look on his face when his perfect world comes crashing down. But then, something else rises through the maelstrom. A strange and terrible clarity. It's as if the shock has jolted my brain into a new frequency. I look over at my laptop, sitting on the chaise lounge in the corner of our bedroom. The rewrite. Sarah's words come back to me.
Don't be timid.
Burn it all down. All this pain, this raw, visceral agony, it's not just a personal tragedy. It's material. It's the missing ingredient. It's the killer instinct I didn't have. My character, Eleanor, has been too forgiving, too hesitant. I have been too forgiving, too hesitant. I've been trying to write about betrayal from the outside, imagining what it would feel like. Now I know. I know the exact taste of it, the precise weight of it in my chest. A cold, steely resolve solidifies within me. Confronting him now would be a release, a messy, emotional explosion that would leave me shattered, and him in control of the narrative. He would twist it, call me crazy, hysterical. He would manage the fallout, just like he manages every other crisis.
No.
A quiet confrontation is not what he deserves. He deserves a public reckoning. I don't go to the bathroom. I don't say a word. I walk over to my laptop, open it, and delete the entire second half of my manuscript. 40,000 words, gone in a single click. My heart doesn't even stutter. I'm not destroying my work. I'm clearing the slate. I begin to type, my fingers flying across the keys with a speed and certainty I've never known. The fictional husband in my book is no longer just a generic antagonist. He is Mark. The fictional mistress is no longer a caricature. She is Jessica. I pour every detail, every nuance of my discovery, every ounce of my pain and rage onto the page. The dialogue is sharper, the betrayals more specific, the protagonist's eventual revenge more calculated and devastating. I am no longer writing a novel. I am crafting an indictment. And for the first time in years, I know, with absolute certainty, that I am a real writer. The proof is right here, a living, breathing monster taking shape on my screen. This book will not just be my escape. It will be my revenge. The house becomes a mausoleum. The silence is no longer peaceful. It's a living entity, thick with deceit. Mark moves through the rooms like a ghost, his attention perpetually fixed on the glowing screen of his phone. He is brazen now, emboldened by my silence. He thinks I'm oblivious, lost in my little hobby. The late nights are now multiple times a week, the excuse is flimsier. The merger is in its final stages, he'll say, not even bothering to make eye contact as he heads straight for the shower. The scent of a perfume that isn't mine clings to him, a cloying, sweet smell of betrayal. I exist on coffee and adrenaline. Sleep is a luxury I can no longer afford. Every night, after he's fallen into the deep, untroubled sleep of the morally bankrupt, I write. The words pour out of me in a torrent. I am not just an author. I am a court stenographer, documenting the slow, brutal murder of my marriage. Every condescending comment he's ever made, every dismissive smile, every lie, it all finds a home in my manuscript. I give it to Eleanor's husband, Andrew. I make him charming, successful, and utterly ruthless in his emotional cruelty. I give his mistress, Chloe, Jessica's ambition, her predatory smile, her sleek blonde hair. My agent, Sarah, is stunned by the new pages I send her. My God, she says over the phone, her usual briskness replaced with a kind of awe. This is electric. It's raw, it's angry, it's brilliant. What happened to you? I found my killer instinct, I say, my voice flat. Well, bottle it and sell it, she says. This is the book. This is the 1-inch. Her validation is a small, hard point of light in the suffocating darkness of my life. But it's followed by the agonizing wait. She sends the manuscript out to publishers. And the silence returns, but this time it's external. The days stretch into weeks. I finish the book and have nothing left to pour my rage into. I'm just living in the wreckage. I feel completely, utterly alone. I walk through the perfect rooms of my perfect house, a stranger in my own life. I look at the photos on the mantelpiece, our wedding, vacations in Italy, smiling, happy strangers, and I feel nothing but a hollow ache. I start thinking about leaving, but the practicalities are overwhelming. I have no job. The money in our joint account is his money. I know he'd fight me for every penny. My name is on the deed to this house, but his name is on the mortgage he pays from the salary he earns in the real world. He was right about one thing. He had taken care of everything. He had built me a beautiful, gilded cage, and I had willingly walked into it. If the book fails, I have nothing. I am trapped. The weight of that possibility is crushing. I feel the old softness, the old fear, creeping back in. Maybe he was right. Maybe I wasn't built for this. One afternoon, I'm sitting in the kitchen, staring at a rejection email from a small press Sarah had submitted to as a backup. It's polite but firm. It feels like the final nail in the coffin. I put my head in my hands, the despair of physical weight pressing down on me. I'm a fool. A soft, foolish woman who wrote a little book that no one wants, while her husband builds an empire and a new life without her. The tears finally come, hot and silent. The phone rings. It's a New York number I don't recognize. I almost don't answer it. I let it ring 4 times, my hand hovering over the screen. At the last second, I swipe to answer. Hello. My voice is thick with unshed tears. Is this? It's Sarah. She sounds breathless. Are you sitting down? What is it? I ask, my stomach clenching with dread. I'm on a conference call, she whispers, and I can hear the muffled sound of other voices in the background. With the editors from Blackwood Publishing. Blackwood, one of the biggest, most respected publishers in the world. My heart stops. They're not just making an offer, she says, her voice breaking with excitement. They're starting a bidding war. 3 other houses want in. We're going to auction. I can't speak. I literally cannot form words. My mind is a blank slate. A bidding war? Auction? These are words from a fantasy world, the world Mark said I wasn't fit for. They love it, she rushes on. They're calling it the next great novel of domestic suspense, The Advance. The numbers they're talking about are life-changing, she pauses, and I can hear her take a deep, steadying breath. You did it. You bloody well did it. You're going to be a real writer. Her words, the very words he used as a weapon against me, hit me with the force of a physical blow. A sob escapes my lips, but it's not one of sadness. It's a raw, primal sound of release. The pressure that has been building inside me for years, the doubt, the fear, the humiliation, it all shatters in that one moment. I am not soft. I am not a fool. I am a writer. And the numbers they're talking about? They aren't just life-changing. They are freedom. They are my escape. They are my revenge. I hang up the phone, my body trembling with shock and adrenaline. For a moment, I just sit there, letting the reality of it wash over me. I'm not trapped anymore. The cage door has just been blown off its hinges. I look around the cold, silent kitchen, at the gleaming granite countertops and the stainless steel appliances. This is not my home. It's his stage. And I'm done being one of his props. A new kind of calm settles over me. The emotional, messy confrontation I'd avoided is now permanently off the table. That would be letting him off easy. He doesn't deserve the catharsis of a fight. He deserves a cold, quiet, public annihilation. I walk to my laptop. I open the manuscript file, the one that is now a valuable commodity. I navigate to the very first page, the one right before the story begins. The dedication page. It's blank. I place the cursor in the center of the screen. It blinks, that tiny, steady heartbeat. My fingers are steady as I type. For Mark. I hit enter, creating a space, a dramatic pause. Then I type the second line. And for Jessica. For showing me that the best fiction is always rooted in the truth. I read the words over and over. They are perfect. They are elegant. They are a stiletto knife, slid cleanly between his ribs. He won't see it coming. He'll be smiling, accepting the applause for his wife's little hobby, right up until the moment the blade twists. And by then, it will be far, far too late. The book, The Silent Partner, becomes a phenomenon. It starts as a low hum, a buzz among critics and early readers, and then it explodes. It lands on the bestseller list its first week out. It's chosen for a major celebrity book club. My face, a face Mark has barely looked at for the past year, is suddenly in magazines and on morning talk shows. The irony is so thick I could choke on it. Mark, to my astonishment, is thrilled. Utterly, provincially thrilled. He hasn't read a single page of the book, of course. He's too busy. But he's read the articles about its success. He sees the sales numbers. And he sees an opportunity. Suddenly, my little hobby is a lucrative enterprise and, by extension, another testament to his own success. He's the husband of a best-selling author. It's a new, shiny accessory for him to parade around. "Can you believe it, honey?" he says one night, holding up a newspaper with my photo in it. "We're rich." The "we" is not lost on me. He's already spending my advance in his head. I told all the guys at the office. They're blown away. Henderson is so jealous. His wife's book club is actually reading your book next month. He is so wrapped up in his own ego, so confident in his own narrative, that the danger flying directly at him is completely invisible. He sees the title, The Silent Partner, and assumes it's some cute, winking nod to our life. He thinks it's about a supportive wife behind a great man. He has no idea it's about a woman who is about to burn his entire world to the ground. The launch party is his idea. "We have to celebrate this," he insists. "A real, proper party. I'll have my event planner handle everything. We'll invite all our friends, my clients, the whole team from the office, his team." He means Jessica. The thought of her being there, celebrating my success, a success she unknowingly fueled, sends a thrill of dark, delicious anticipation through me. The night of the party is surreal. It's held at a chic art gallery downtown. The place is packed. Waiters circulate with trays of champagne and impossibly small appetizers. Everyone wants to talk to me. They gush about the book, about the shocking twist, about the ruthless protagonist. "Eleanor is such a force of nature," one of Mark's clients says to me, her eyes wide with admiration. "Where did you come up with such a strong, vengeful character?" I just smile. I have a vivid imagination. Mark is in his element, playing the role of the proud, supportive husband to perfection. He has his arm wrapped around my waist, a proprietary gesture. He accepts congratulations on my behalf. "I always knew she had it in her," he says to a group of his colleagues, his voice booming. "Just needed a little encouragement. A quiet place to work." I spot Jessica across the room. She's standing with a few of the junior analysts, a glass of champagne in her hand. She looks smug, confident. She catches my eye and gives me a small, condescending little smile, the smile of a winner who thinks her rival doesn't even know there's a game being played. "Oh, you sweet, stupid girl. You have no idea what's coming. My publisher has arranged for a short Q&A session. A small stage is set up at one end of the gallery. My editor, Sarah, steps up to the microphone to introduce me. As I make my way to the stage, Mark kisses my cheek. "Knock, I'm dead. Superstar," he whispers, his breath warm against my ear. It's the most affectionate he's been in months. It makes my skin crawl. The Q&A is standard fare. Questions about my inspiration, my writing process. I give practiced, charming answers.
I can feel hundreds of eyes on me.
I am calm. I am centered. I am a loaded gun. Then Sarah smiles and says, "We have time for one last question." She points to a young woman in the front row, a journalist from a major literary blog I'd spoken to earlier. This was planned. This is the moment. The journalist stands up. "First, congratulations on the incredible success," she begins. "I think I speak for everyone when I say we were all blown away by the book. But I had a question about the dedication. It's so intriguing. It reads, 'For Mark and for Jessica, for showing me that the best fiction is always rooted in the truth. Can you tell us the story behind that?'" A hush falls over the room. It is absolute. Every eye swivels from the journalist to me. I can feel Mark's gaze from the side of the room. He's smiling, still thinking this is some kind of tribute. He probably thinks Jessica is the name of a beloved creative writing teacher or a supportive old friend. I take a deep breath and look out over the crowd, my eyes scanning the sea of faces until they land on him. I hold his gaze. His smile is starting to falter, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. He doesn't understand why everyone has gone so quiet, why the air is suddenly thick with tension. Then, my eyes slide past him to the back of the room where Jessica is standing. Her face is a mask of dawning horror. She gets it. She's the only other person in the room who truly understands. I turn my attention back to the journalist. I give her a small, sad, knowing smile. And then I deliver the line I have been rehearsing in my head for months. "The story behind the dedication?" I say, my voice clear and steady, amplified by the microphone so it reaches every corner of the silent gallery. "That's simple. Mark is my husband." A collective gasp ripples through the crowd. It's a physical thing, a wave of shock and comprehension. I see heads turning, people whispering, eyes darting between me, Mark, and Jessica. The trap has been sprung. I let the revelation hang in the air for a perfect, pregnant pause. Then I deliver the final, killing blow. "And Jessica," I say, my voice dropping to a confidential, almost conspiratorial tone, "is his secretary." The sound that erupts in the room is unlike anything I've ever heard. It's a cacophony of gasps, murmurs, and shocked laughter. It's the sound of a carefully constructed reality shattering into a million pieces. From the stage, I have a perfect view of the carnage. I see Mark's face. It cycles through a series of emotions in a split second. Confusion, disbelief, a flash of pure, unadulterated panic. And then, as he turns and sees the blood drain from Jessica's face, as he sees the looks of pity and disgust on the faces of his clients and colleagues, it settles into a mask of purple, apoplectic rage. He starts moving toward the stage, pushing through the stunned crowd. People shrink away from him as if he's radioactive. His eyes are locked on me, blazing with a fury I've never seen before. This is the real him. Not the charming, condescending husband, but a cornered animal, stripped of its pride. He reaches the stage and grabs my arm, his fingers digging into my flesh like talons. "What have you done?" he hisses, his voice a venomous whisper that only I can hear. "You pathetic little, you've ruined me." For a second, the old fear flickers inside me. The instinct to placate, to apologize, to make myself small. But then I look into his eyes, and I see nothing but a weak, pathetic man who has finally lost control. The fear vanishes, replaced by a profound, glacial calm. I lean into the microphone, my voice never wavering. "I think my husband has something he'd like to say." The feedback screeches as he lunges for the microphone, trying to wrestle it from my hand. But I hold on tight. The struggle is brief and pathetic. He's flailing, his composure completely gone. He looks out at the sea of faces, at the phones that are now all raised, recording his public unraveling. And he just breaks. "You," he screams, his voice cracking, pointing a trembling finger at me. The sound is raw, unhinged. "You did this. After everything I gave you. This house. This life. You ungrateful," he's sputtering, lost in his own rage. He turns, his wild eyes searching the crowd for Jessica, for an ally, but she's already gone, vanished into the night. He is utterly, completely alone, exposed under the bright, unforgiving lights of my success. Security guards are moving in now, gently but firmly taking his arms. He doesn't fight them. All the energy seems to drain out of him, at once. He looks small, deflated, a fallen king in a bespoke suit. As they lead him away, through the crowd that parts for him like the Red Sea, he looks back at me one last time. His face is a ruin of hate and disbelief. He thought he was the main character. He never realized he was just the villain in my story. And the villain never gets a happy ending. I stand on the stage, my arm throbbing where he grabbed me, and I watch him go. I don't smile. I don't feel triumph. I just feel quiet. The silence in the room is broken only by the frantic clicking of cameras. The silent partner has finally found her voice, and it is louder than his screams will ever be. The aftermath is a whirlwind of lawyers and headlines. The video of Mark's meltdown at the party goes viral. He becomes a meme, a cautionary tale. The screaming husband. His carefully crafted image of power and control is irrevocably shattered. His company, citing a morals clause in his contract, places him on indefinite leave. His clients, horrified by the public scandal, begin to pull their accounts. The empire he was so proud of, the real world he lorded over me, begins to crumble. Jessica is fired, of course. A scapegoat offered up to the altar of public relations. I hear through the grapevine that she left the city, humiliated and unemployable. I should feel some satisfaction in her downfall, but I mostly just feel a tired sort of pity. She was a pawn just as I was. We were just different pieces in his game. The divorce is surprisingly swift. Mark, stripped of his power and public standing, has no fight left in him. His lawyer tries to argue that he is entitled to half the earnings from the book, claiming he provided the environment and financial support that allowed me to write it. My lawyer, a shark named Diane whom I hired with my own money, simply plays the video of the launch party in the deposition. The argument is dropped. He walks away with his half of the house we sell and his diminished reputation. I walk away with my freedom, my career, and a future I will write entirely on my own terms. I buy a new apartment, a place in the heart of the city, with floor-to-ceiling windows that look out over the endless river of lights. It's smaller than the house, but it feels infinitely larger. It is mine. Every book on the shelf, every piece of furniture, every quiet corner is a reflection of me, not of the person I was pretending to be. Some nights, I sit by the window with a glass of wine, and I think about him. I don't feel anger anymore. That burned out of me on the night of the party. What I feel is a strange, hollow sadness for the woman I used to be. The woman who made herself small to fit into a life that was never meant for her. The woman who believed his quiet cruelty was a form of love. I mourn her, but I don't miss her. She had to die for me to be born. My second book is coming along. It's not about revenge. It's about a woman rebuilding her life after the world she knew has been burned to the ground. It's about finding strength not in anger, but in resilience. It's a quieter story, but it's more honest. It's more me. I sometimes get letters from readers. Women who saw themselves in Eleanor. Women in quiet, suffocating marriages, with dreams they'd been told were silly hobbies. They tell me my book gave them courage. They tell me Eleanor's story became a blueprint for their own escape. These letters mean more to me than any bestseller list or royalty check. They are a reminder that my story, born from my specific pain, became a universal language. I didn't just save myself. I threw a rope back for others. Tonight, the city is spread out before me like a blanket of scattered diamonds. My laptop is open, a fresh page waiting. The blinking cursor is no longer a mocking heartbeat, but a steady, patient promise. I am the author of my own life now. The plot twists are mine to write. The ending is still unwritten, and the possibilities are infinite. The silence in my apartment is not the silence of absence or loneliness. It is the silence of peace. The silence of a woman who is finally, truly at home. If this story hit close to home, I'd love to hear your version. Thanks for being here. Subscribing helps bring more of these to life.